who's actually getting the most out of a short-throw home projector, and who would be better off sticking with a TV? Is the ViewSonic LS830 worth the price tag for a typical family who just wants a bigger screen for movie night? Or does it only make sense for tech-savvy cinephiles with a dedicated dark room? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'm going to walk you through the real-world considerations that separate a smart purchase from a regret. When I first started looking at short-throw options, the biggest fear was ending up with a unit that looks great on paper but ends up being a headache to install or, worse, a projector that can't actually fill a wall with a decent picture in an everyday living room. The LS830 promises big screen projection and easy setup, but those promises mean something different once you actually pull the box out of the box and set it up in a typical 10 by 12 foot family room. That's the angle I'm taking: how the projector behaves once you have it on the shelf, connect your console, and try to watch a show after the kids have gone to bed. First off, the short throw factor is a game changer for anyone who doesn't have a dedicated home theater space. You can place the LS830 just a foot or so from the wall and still get a 100-inch image. In my apartment, that meant I could mount it on a low shelf above my entertainment center and still get a cinema-sized picture without worrying about the projector casting shadows on the couch. For a family with a small living room, that's a huge win because you avoid the long throw distance calculations that usually require you to clear a lot of floor space. The easy setup claim lives up to its name. The unit comes with a quick start guide that walks you through positioning, keystone correction, and the built-in autofocus. Within 10 minutes the image was already level and in focus, which is a relief compared to older models that required manual focus knobs and a lot of trial and error. Connectivity is another area where the LS830 feels thoughtful. It has HDMI, USB-C, and a few legacy ports, so you can hook up a gaming console, a streaming stick, or even a laptop without needing a separate adapter. In practice, I plugged a PlayStation 5 straight into the HDMI and the projector recognized the 4K HDR signal, then downscaled it to its native 1080p resolution without any noticeable lag. The USB-C port is handy for someone who wants to project directly from a newer laptop or even a smartphone with the right cable, a feature that many budget projectors skip. For a home office that occasionally needs a larger display for presentations, that flexibility is a real convenience. One of the selling points manufacturers love to tout is lamp life, and the LS830 claims a long-lasting lamp. In the field, that translates to fewer replacements and lower ongoing cost. The lamp is rated for around 15,000 hours, which, if you run the projector for 3 hours a night, pushes you well beyond 10 years before you'd need a new bulb. That kind of durability is especially appealing for families who don't want to worry about a sudden lamp failure mid-movie. The included industry-leading warranty also adds peace of mind. It covers parts and labor for 3 years, which is more generous than the 1-year standard you see on many competitor models. Now, let's get into the practical strengths that matter after you've set it up. The most noticeable is the brightness. At 4,500 lumens, the LS830 is bright enough to deliver a vivid picture in a dimly lit room, which is the typical environment most people use a projector. If you dim the lights for a Netflix binge, the image looks punchy, with decent contrast that keeps dark scenes from turning into flat gray. For a family that watches movies after dinner, the brightness level means you don't have to go full blackout, which is a realistic scenario in a house with kids running around. Another strength is the built-in speaker system. It's not a replacement for a full surround sound setup, but it does provide a clean enough audio track for casual viewing. In a small apartment, that means you can start a movie without immediately scrambling for external speakers. The sound is clear enough for dialogue, and the volume can be boosted without distortion up to a reasonable level. For a quick board game night or a casual sports game, that's a practical convenience. On the flip side, there are a few trade-offs that could be deal-breakers for certain buyers. First, the native resolution is 1080p. The projector does accept a 4K signal, but it downscales it, so you won't get true 4K detail. If you're a hardcore gamer or a cinephile with a 4K TV and you expect the same level of pixel-perfect clarity on a big screen, you'll notice the difference, especially on larger images. The LS830 shines best when you're okay with full HD, which is still a great experience for most streaming services, but it's worth noting if you're chasing the absolute highest fidelity. Second,